Sometimes in life, you feel misunderstood, talked about, and even silently opposed. There are people who doubt you, people who question your intentions, and people who quietly hope you fail. It hurts, especially when you've done nothing to deserve it. But what if all of that was not meant to bring you, but to elevate you? What if the very people watching you with envy will one day witness your rise, not because of your power, but because of Allah's plan? You may not see it now, but every moment of patience, every silent tear, and every time you chose dignity over revenge, it is being counted, because when Allah decides to raise someone, no force on earth can pull them down. There is a powerful reality that many people forget in moments of weakness. Elevation does not come from people, it comes only from Allah. No matter how influential someone may seem, no matter how loud their voice is, and no matter how strong their opposition feels, they do not hold the power to raise you or lower you in the sight of Allah. This is something deeply liberating when you truly understand it. It means your worth is not tied to opinions, approval, or validation from others. It means your progress is not dependent on who supports you or who stands against you. You may find yourself in situations where people try to block your opportunities, speak against you, or create obstacles in your path. It may even feel like doors are being closed deliberately. But what you must hold on to is this: if Allah has written something for you, those doors will open in ways you could never imagine. And if something is not meant for you, even the strongest support from people will not make it happen. This is why your reliance must never shift from the Creator to the creation. When a person truly understands that Allah is the one who elevates, their entire mindset changes. They stop chasing people and start focusing on their connection with Him. They stop fearing criticism and start fearing losing sincerity. They stop being desperate for recognition and instead become consistent in their efforts, even when no one is watching, because they know that the one who matters sees everything. There will be moments when you feel unnoticed, when your efforts go unappreciated, and when others seem to rise faster than you. In those moments, it becomes easy to question your path. But elevation is not always immediate, and it is not always visible. Sometimes Allah is raising you in ways you cannot yet see, strengthening your character, purifying your intentions, and preparing you for something greater than what you asked for. And when the time comes for your elevation, it will not be subtle. It will not require you to announce yourself or prove your worth. Allah will place acceptance for you in the hearts of people. He will create opportunities that no one can take credit for. He will open doors that no one even knew existed. And those who once doubted you will witness it, not because you sought their attention, but because Allah made it undeniable. This is why you must guard your heart from becoming attached to people's opinions. Today they praise you, tomorrow they may criticize you. Today they support you, tomorrow they may turn away. But Allah remains constant. His decree does not change based on trends, emotions, or social pressure. What He has written for you is precise, intentional, and beyond interference. So instead of exhausting yourself trying to prove your worth to others, invest that energy in building your relationship with Allah. Because when He decides to elevate you, it will happen in a way that no one can stop, no one can reverse, and no one can take away from you. Not everyone who opposes you is there to destroy you. Sometimes they are there to reveal you. It is easy to see haters as a burden, as people who bring negativity, stress, and emotional weight into your life. But if you look deeper, you begin to realize that their presence is not random. It is part of a test, one that measures your patience, your sincerity, and your ability to stay grounded when faced with discomfort. When people speak against you, misunderstand you, or even try to bring you down, your first instinct may be to defend yourself, to respond, or to prove them wrong. But not every battle is meant to be fought with words. Some battles are meant to be endured with patience, with dignity, and with trust that Allah is aware of everything that is happening. Because the way you respond in these moments says more about you than anything your critics could ever say. Haters often push you into a position where your true character is exposed. When you are praised, it is easy to remain calm and composed, but when you are criticized unfairly, when you are judged without being understood, and when your intentions are questioned, that is when your inner strength is tested. Do you react with anger, or do you maintain control? Do you seek revenge, or do you choose restraint? These moments are not just difficult, they are defining, and sometimes the discomfort caused by others becomes a source of growth you would not have achieved otherwise. Their criticism can make you reflect, their doubt can push you to improve, and their negativity can strengthen your reliance on Allah. What feels like pressure is often preparation. What feels like opposition is often a form of direction, guiding you toward a stronger version of yourself. It is also important to understand that not everyone who dislikes you knows your full story. People make judgments based on fragments, assumptions, and sometimes even jealousy. If you spend your energy trying to correct every misunderstanding, you will exhaust yourself. But if you place your trust in Allah, you begin to realize that clarity does not always need to come from you. Allah has a way of revealing the truth in His own time, in His own way. There is also wisdom in recognizing that the presence of haters can protect you from becoming arrogant. When everything around you is praise and admiration, it is easy to forget humility. But when there are voices that challenge you, even unfairly, it reminds you to stay grounded, to keep your intentions pure, and to remain connected to Allah rather than becoming dependent on people's approval. So instead of viewing those who dislike you as obstacles, begin to see them as part of a larger test designed specifically for you. A test that is not meant to break you but to shape you. A test that is not meant to humiliate you but to elevate your character. Because through every moment of patience, every time you choose silence over retaliation, and every time you trust Allah despite what you feel, you are passing a test that is quietly preparing you for something far greater than the moment you are. In one of the most difficult truths to accept is that elevation does not come before patience. It comes because of it. Everyone wants to rise, to be recognized, to see the results of their efforts, but very few are willing to endure the process that leads to that rise. The journey toward elevation is often marked by delays, hardships, and moments where nothing seems to make sense. It is in those moments that patience is not just required, it becomes the very reason you are being prepared for what is ahead. There will be times when you feel like you are doing everything right, yet nothing seems to move. You are putting in effort, you are making sacrifices, you are trying to stay consistent, but the outcome you hope for feels distant. It is easy in those moments to become frustrated, to question why things are not happening faster, or why others seem to move ahead while you remain where you are. But what you do not see is that your patience is being built layer by layer, and that patience is shaping you into someone who can handle what you are asking for. Patience is not passive. It is not simply waiting without action. It is continuing to do what is right even when you do not see immediate results. It is holding on to your values when it would be easier to compromise. It is trusting that Allah's timing is better than your own, even when everything within you is urging for things to happen now. This kind of patience transforms a person. It shifts their focus from chasing outcomes to strengthening their connection with Allah. Before elevation comes moments that test your limits. You may be misunderstood, overlooked, or even replaced. You may watch others succeed in ways you hoped for yourself. These are not punishments, they are part of your preparation. Because if elevation came without these experiences, it could lead to arrogance, to a sense of entitlement, or to a reliance on oneself rather than on Allah. But when you have struggled, when you have waited, when you have felt the weight of uncertainty, your success becomes different. It becomes grounded in gratitude and humility. There is also a hidden beauty in delayed success. When something comes too quickly, it is often taken for granted. But when you have had to wait, when you have had to remain patient despite every reason to give up, you begin to appreciate even the smallest progress. Your perspective changes. You no longer measure success only by results, but by growth, by resilience, and by the strength you have gained along the way. And while you are being patient, something else is happening that you may not notice. Your character is being refined. Your intentions are being purified. The distractions that once seemed important begin to fade, and your focus becomes clearer. You begin to understand that elevation is not just about reaching a higher position in the eyes of people, but about becoming better in the sight of Allah. This is why patience is always placed before promotion, because elevation without patience is unstable. It lacks depth, it lacks grounding, and it often does not last. But when patience is at the foundation, when you have endured the process without losing your faith, without compromising your values, and without turning away from Allah, then what comes after is not just success. It is a form of elevation that carries peace, stability, and meaning within it. There is a strength that does not come from speaking louder, but from knowing when to remain silent. In a world where everyone feels the need to respond, to defend, and to prove themselves at every turn, choosing silence can feel unnatural, even uncomfortable. But silence, when rooted in wisdom and trust in Allah, is not weakness, it is control. It is a sign that you understand that not every opinion deserves your attention, and not every accusation requires your response. When people speak about you, especially in ways that are unfair or untrue, there is a strong urge to correct them, to set the record straight, and to make sure your side is heard. And while there are moments where clarification is necessary, there are many situations where responding only adds fuel to something that would have otherwise faded away. Not every fire needs your breath to grow. Some fires die on their own when they are left without attention. Silence protects your energy. Every time you engage in unnecessary arguments, you are giving away a part of yourself, your time, your peace, your focus. And often, those who criticize or provoke you are not looking for understanding. They are looking for a reaction. When you deny them that reaction, you take away the power they were trying to gain over you. You remain in control, not because you said more, but because you chose not to say anything at all. There is also a deep level of trust in Allah that comes with silence. It is the understanding that you do not need to defend yourself in every situation because Allah is fully aware of the truth. He knows your intentions, He knows your actions, and He knows what is hidden in your heart. When you place your trust in that, you begin to realize that being misunderstood by people is not as heavy as it once felt, because you are not seeking their validation anymore. Silence also gives you the space to reflect rather than react. Instead of responding emotionally in the moment, you allow yourself to process what is happening with clarity. You avoid saying things you might later regret, and you maintain a level of dignity that cannot be shaken by temporary emotions. Because once words are spoken, they cannot be taken back, and often the damage caused by a reaction is far greater than the criticism that triggered it, and sometimes silence speaks louder than any response ever could. When you continue to move forward, focused on your goals, grounded in your values, and consistent in your actions, people begin to notice. Not because you announced it, but because your behavior becomes your answer. Over time, the noise fades, the criticism weakens, and what remains is the quiet strength of someone who refused to be pulled into unnecessary conflict. Choosing silence does not mean you are unaware, and it does not mean you are unable to respond. It means you are selective. It means you understand the difference between what deserves your voice and what deserves your distance. It means you are protecting something far more valuable than winning an argument. You are protecting your peace, your focus, and your relationship with Allah, which is far too important to be disrupted by every passing opinion or fleeting moment of negativity. There is a reality that often gets overlooked in a world focused on appearances. People can only judge what they see, but Allah knows what is hidden. Human beings look at outcomes, at words, at what is visible on the surface. They form opinions based on fragments of information, brief interactions, or even assumptions that may have no real foundation. But Allah sees beyond all of that. He sees the intention behind every action, the sincerity within every effort, and the struggles that remain unseen to everyone else. You may find yourself in situations where your efforts are not recognized, where your intentions are misunderstood, or where your sincerity is questioned. It can be deeply frustrating to know your truth, yet feel unable to make others understand it. But this is where your perspective must shift. Because if your actions are truly for Allah, then the lack of recognition from people does not reduce their value in any way. In fact, it may increase their purity because they are no longer tied to praise or approval. Sincerity is something that cannot be measured by people. It is not something that can be fully expressed or explained because it exists within the heart. You may do something small in the eyes of others, something that goes completely unnoticed. Yet if it is done with true sincerity, it carries immense weight with Allah. And on the other hand, something that appears great in the eyes of people may hold very little value if it is driven by the desire for recognition rather than the desire to please Him. There is also a quiet comfort in knowing that Allah is fully aware of your struggles, even the ones you never speak about. The moments when you held yourself back from reacting, the times you chose patience over anger, the sacrifices you made that no one else saw. None of it is lost. It is all known, it is all recorded, and it is all valued in a way that no human acknowledgement could ever match. When you begin to truly understand this, your relationship with people's opinions starts to change. Praise does not elevate you the way it once did, and criticism does not break you the way it once could, because your focus is no longer on how you are perceived, but on how you are seen by Allah. You become less concerned with proving yourself and more concerned with improving yourself. Less focused on being understood by everyone and more focused on being sincere in everything you do. And sometimes Allah allows people to misunderstand you so that your intentions can remain pure. Because when everyone understands you, when everyone praises you, there is a subtle risk that your actions may begin to shift toward pleasing them rather than pleasing Allah. But when you are misunderstood, when you are not given the recognition you feel you deserve, it becomes a test of your sincerity. Are you still going to do what is right even when no one acknowledges it? Are you still going to remain consistent even when it feels like no one notices? There is also a deeper wisdom in how Allah deals with what is hidden. While people may overlook your efforts, Allah has the ability to bring their impact to light at the right time. He can place acceptance for you in the hearts of others without you ever having to explain yourself. He can raise your status in ways that do not require validation or approval from anyone. And when that happens, it is not forced, it is not temporary, and it is not dependent on maintaining an image. It is a result of sincerity that was always there, even when no one else could see it in the end. You begin to realize that nothing you went through was wasted. Every moment of silence, every act of patience, every tear you chose to hide, and every time you held on to your character when it was easier to let go, it was all part of a plan far greater than what you could see. What felt like delays were actually protection. What felt like rejection was redirection. And what felt like being overlooked was Allah preserving your sincerity. You were never in competition with people, even though it may have felt that way. The real journey was always between you and Allah, your trust in Him, your patience in His timing, and your ability to remain sincere despite everything happening around you. And those who doubted you, spoke against you, or quietly watched your struggles, they were never in control of your outcome. They were simply witnesses to a process that Allah was shaping perfectly, because when Allah elevates, it happens in a way that cannot be explained by effort alone. It carries a sense of peace, a sense of stability, and a sense of purpose that goes beyond what people can give or take away. And those who once questioned you may still be watching, but now they are no longer seeing potential. They are witnessing reality. So continue forward without seeking validation, without being distracted by negativity, and without allowing the noise around you to shake what you know within. Stay grounded in your connection with Allah, stay consistent in your character, and stay patient with what has not yet unfolded. Because what is written for you is already on its way, and when it arrives, it will not only elevate you in the eyes of people, but more importantly, in the sight of the one who matters most